Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Alertus webinar series. My name is Vincent Busher, Marketing Coordinator at Alertus Technologies. During this presentation, Ryan Kelly, Regional Account Executive, will provide insight on getting started with crisis communication for your summer camp. Feel free to submit your questions during the webinar anytime, and they will be addressed during the Q&A session at the end of this presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be shared with you after today's session. If you have any questions after this presentation, please email marketing@alertus.com. Now I'd like to turn it over to Ryan.
Thanks, Vinny. So welcome, everybody. Hopefully today we can talk a little bit more about your summer camps and emergency alerting, getting started. I was down in Nashville last week. Hopefully I met with a bunch of people at the ACA conference who are able to listen into today. Today, what I really want to get started and what we want to go through is getting started with crisis communication and emergency alerting. So the main focus today is to tell you a little bit more about Alertus and what we focus on, but also talk a little bit more about unified mass notification, some of the challenges that arise with mass notification, and some of the layered approaches that we recommend to our clients, as well as anybody who's getting started with mass notification. We'll go through some of the options that we provide, the activation options as well, and then we'll open it up for a Q&A at the end. So to kind of get started, a little bit of background on Alertus. Alertus was founded at the University of Maryland back in 2002. We are a leader and a pioneer in mass notification. And when it comes down to mass notification, what we focus on is the facility side of the facility side of audible visual alerting. So how can we get notification out to anybody in your facilities or outside your facilities? Obviously, when we're talking about campgrounds, it's important for us to get that notification out to those large areas, but also the cabins and other indoor areas if you have those facilities. We work with over 2,000 customers nationwide, several camps as well, and we do work with a lot of different sectors. Education was our main focus for a while, and we do have a lot of K through 12 and higher education clients, which are very applicable to our camping clients and camping prospects as well. So today, talking a little bit more about mass notification and some of the things that we're going to focus on. Before we get into that, though, I want to go through some of the challenges that arise and some of the challenges that we can hopefully tackle when it comes to notification. Why are we doing notification? Why is it important? Essentially, when it comes down to it, you want to be able to notify everybody in a single point of activation and try to get that notification out in a timely manner. And the things that are going to come up are going to be the lack of technology in your environments, the loud environments. You're going to be out in the woods. There's going to be a large area that we're going to try to cover. So hopefully throughout this meeting or throughout this presentation, we'll be able to showcase some of the ways we can hopefully tackle those challenges. Wide open facilities are going to be important, but also just the lack of technology that's going to be in your facilities and outside as well. The last thing that we're going to discuss at the end is the timeliness. Obviously, when it comes to an emergency, you have minutes or seconds to notify your campers as well as your employees of a situation. So we're going to talk about the timeliness of the Alertus system and also just the timeliness that it should take to get an alert out in general. So as we discussed, Alertus is a mass notification system, facility-based, focusing on audible visual. As we get into it, though, I want to kind of describe a few different options with the system and some of the things that we really focus on when it comes down to activating the system and what we look for with mass notification. The first thing that we always say here is we want to make sure that alert gets out in a timely manner. So a single point of activation is very important for us to get that alert out, no matter how many endpoints you're reaching, no matter how many campers or employees you have to reach. We want to make it so you have one button or one activation point that you have to press that will allow you to get that notification out within seconds. The second thing that's most important for us is the integration. So utilizing the technology that you have already in place is very important for us. Whether we're talking about a cabin with speakers or desktops, or whether it's outside with existing outdoor speakers, we want to utilize that existing technology to notify and showcase that we can get that alert out within seconds. But finally, where we really separate ourselves is filling in the gaps. The Alertus system doesn't stop with just integrating with the technology that you have. We have our own speaker systems. We have our own products that are proprietary and in-house that allow us to get those alerts out within seconds. So that's going to be the main focus today, is utilizing the systems that you have, but then also tailoring it so we can fill in those gaps and get a unified mass notification and crisis communication system in place. So as we go forward, take a picture of your campus or your facility. Think about some of the challenges that you go through that we're going to be able to tackle. And as we go forward, there's going to be a lot of different use cases and a lot of different technologies that each one of you will have that's going to be a little different. None of our clients are going to be the same. All the technology that we have on one location might be completely different from the other. That doesn't matter for us. Again, the main focus is integrating with what you have and then utilizing different things that we might be able to provide. But before we kind of get through some of the products that we have, I really want to kind of take a step back and explain mass notification, because getting started with mass notification, there might be some questions and kind of, some concerns about, where to start, where to begin, what is mass notification? And realistically, what mass notification is just being able to notify everybody in a timely manner, whether it's indoors or outdoors, whether you're using different forms of communication. So you'll see on the right here, the ability to have a layered approach is kind of our philosophy here at Alertus. We're going to go through each one of these tiers individually, but again, the main goal is to tackle the indoor locations, immediate intrusive, outdoor reaching everybody, personal distributed recipients, whether that's a mobile app or text and email systems, and then finally extending your reach out to the public. Now, there's going to be a few layers here that I think we're going to have the ability to showcase a little bit more in depth and that are going to be more applicable to most of our campgrounds. But we do want to at least make sure you're aware of some of the different options that are out there with different layers. So the first option and the first layer that we always take into consideration here at Alertus is the indoor areas. Now, obviously, when it comes down to a campground, a majority of you are going to be outdoors. We understand that. So for what it's worth, take this slide with a grain of salt, because not everything's going to be applicable to everybody. But for the most part, most of our technologies that we have the ability to integrate with or have our own products to tie in for the indoor locations are going to be up here. Our first product that we were founded on is the Alert Beacon. It's a wall-mounted device, sits about 6 by 7 inches, and has the ability to notify everybody audibly and visually. ADA compliance is very important for Alertus. We see that a lot on the higher education and the K through 12 space, but it's just as applicable with our campgrounds as well. But everything else that you see around the Alert Beacon, we have the ability to tie into as well. Whether that's going to be text-to-speech technology and getting an audible message out to your facilities, LED marquees, or tying into existing PA systems is going to be important for us as well. Now, obviously, some of you might not have any technology. You might not even have any indoor areas. We're having the ability to tie in with the Alert Beacon, and LED marquees are kind of our main focus. But then if you do have indoor areas with fire alarm panels or digital signage, that's very important for us as well. Again, the main goal is audible visual alerting, trying to get immediate alerts right in front of your face. That way you have the ability to notify your campers and your employees in a timely manner. I think the biggest focus for us today, though, is going to be our outdoor notification and reaching those campers who are going to be out in the woods or outside your facilities to notify them in a timely manner. Talking with a lot of you at the ACA conference last week in Nashville, the outdoor notification was definitely the hot topic. And essentially what we have with the outdoor notification is two different options. One is notifying and utilizing the existing speakers that you have in place with our text-to-speech components that we saw in the last slide. But the second form of notification is utilizing our own outdoor speakers that we provide in-house to notify those areas in a very easy manner. So for the sake of the conversation, you'll see some bullet points here of what we have the ability to use and customize with these outdoor notifications. Siren tones are always a very popular option. You have different tones and different wave files that we have the ability to tie into, so the outdoor notification can reach areas up to a mile or even farther. But outside of that, outside of tones, you also want to have commands, and you want to have the ability to notify everybody with speech. And we can do that a number of ways. The first option is going to be our text-to-speech interface. As you saw in the last slide, text-to-speech is something that we pride ourselves on here at Alertus. When an emergency happens, if you're not a trained individual with mass notification or with emergencies, it takes a little bit of time to fully comprehend a system that you have to talk into and be prepared to publicly address the campers. So text-to-speech is a very easy way to get that message out in a clear, concise manner. But if you are an individual that wants to utilize a microphone, you most certainly have that ability with this system as well. You can do pre-recorded messages, or you can talk into a microphone. The main goal, again, is just audible notification, getting that message out so everybody has the ability to receive that in a timely manner. Our outdoor speakers are very lightweight, they're very affordable, and they're able to be placed in any location that you have outdoors. We can get into a more technical call afterwards if you have any interest in this, but the main focus is for what we were talking about is getting that message out both with tones as well as our voice. But as we go forward, outside of just approaching people or notifying people in a audible manner outdoors and indoors, we also have a personal alerting system that you have the ability to utilize with our system. So the main focus with what we do indoors is going to be tying into existing technology, and you'll see the main options here with desktop notification and IP phones. Now, again, every campground is going to be a little different. Some are not going to have desktops, some are not even going to have IP phones. So the main products that we really see, and we'll get into a little bit more with the recipient app, is our mobile app and the two-way radio. So the recipient app is an awesome option to get that personal alerting directly onto your phone. We'll get into the activation options as well with our mobile apps, but the recipient app allows you to notify everybody who has a cell phone within an area of the alert. Just like you would now with your Apple phone or your Android, you can get a push notification directly to your phone that allows you to receive that message, and you can also utilize this as a panic button feature. So if anybody is in the woods, they have internet access, they can pin their location and send a message back to a camp counselor or a director. On the other side, our two-way radio integration is by far the second most popular feature that we talked about with our ACA attendees last week and any campers that we're going to be talking to down the road. Now, two-way radio integration is very popular as camp counselors and directors have their radios on them throughout the duration of the camp. Very similar to our text-to-speech interface with the outdoor speakers and the indoor speakers, we can tie into your two-way radio system utilizing the text-to-speech interface. It allows us to get that message out in a clear, concise manner, all from a single point of activation. So as the message is going out, it hits the text-to-speech from the outdoor speakers, it hits any desktops that are indoors, and it will also hit the two-way radio, all from that same single point of activation. So again, the main focus with this slide, personal alerting, we want to get that message out in a very widespread manner with the outdoor voice, but the personal alerting is just as important with any individuals who have technology on them. Finally, we don't really stop with just outdoor notification, indoor notification. We also want to get our reach out to the public as well. So one of the things that we got into a lot is notifying your campers, parents, as well as any other people who might be interested in getting that message. So for what it's worth, cable TV override is something that we have the ability to utilize. When it comes to a system and some of the things that we focus on, this might not be as applicable for some of our campgrounds, but if you do have cable TV, that is something that we have the ability to tie into. But also, social media and websites is also something that we really focus on as well. Hopefully you have a social media presence with your campground and your association. As that message goes out to all your campers, we can also notify the website and your social media pages. So anybody who is following those pages or is on that website can get notified of that alert. That way your campground is being notified, but also the parents and visitors who are going to those websites and web pages can get notified as well. Finally, we do have a lot of other integrations as well with other security companies or other integrations with other technologies out there. If there are any technologies that you have that we haven't discussed today, we do have other ways we can tie into these methods. RSS feed, cat feed, as well as our API integration. It just allows us to integrate with multiple systems and outside vendors that we might not be familiar with, but maybe you are as well. So to kind of wrap things up, the last couple slides here, what we want to discuss is the activation options and some of the ways that we're alerting our facilities, indoors and outdoors. I've kind of mentioned this at the beginning and throughout the presentation. The activation options that we have are awesome, but we want to make sure that the main focus is a single point of activation. When an emergency happens, you don't want to have to scramble around your campsite or your facilities to notify everybody. You want to be able to do so with a single click of a button. And we'll show you those options here in the next slide. But again, the main focus, trying to get that activation out from one single point of activation. Now, there's a lot to take in with this slide, but the main focus that we're going to be discussing today is just our activation methods that we have, both with a full system activation, but also the internal communication that will be available within your campgrounds. So for what it's worth, there's the two main focuses today that I want to discuss are going to be the Alertus app and the Alertus Console. So wherever you have internet access, again, this is mostly going to be from a desktop computer or your mobile phone. You have the ability to customize any alert that we have within our Alertus Console. The console is situated behind with internet, so you do need network at your campground to alert everybody via desktop. But you have the ability to sign on very easily, activate the system within seconds, and this is also where we're going to do all the configuration and help you preset these alerts. So whether it's a weather incident, whether it's an intruder or an evacuation, you have the ability to go into the console, go into the desktop, type a customized message, or have a preset alert automatically sent out. On the flip side, you'll see our smartphone. We do have the ability to customize alerts and activate the system from our user interface mobilely as well. But if you don't have that familiarity with the Alertus Console, we do have our mobile app that we have the ability to send an alert out through as well. So the Alertus Activator app, it utilizes the same features as the desktop notification. We have the ability to preset all the messages ahead of time. You can customize the message on the fly, and then you have the ability to see which devices are going to be activated, and you have that ability to customize this message, within seconds. On the left side, as we mentioned earlier, with our ability to notify everybody individually on a personal level, the Alertus recipient app is a very easy option to get push notifications, but just talk internally. The last thing I want to mention very quickly while we're talking about the activation options, I don't have a slide on this, is our ability to monitor weather alerts as well. So many of the campgrounds and many of the campers that we talked to at ACA last week mentioned inclement weather, whether it's lightning or tornadoes or any inclement weather that might be in your area. Just know that we do have integrations and activation options within our system with weather alerts. So we can tie in different weather alerts within our system to notify our campgrounds of inclement weather. That way you don't have to monitor weather at the same time as doing your duties as director or counselor or your basic duties of the campground. So that about wraps up everything that we really wanted to go through today. Again, the main focus with our system here at Alertus is notifying everybody in a very timely manner, whether that's through weather alerts, whether that's through our mobile app or our Alertus Console. Having the ability to notify the existing technology that you might have on your campus and in your facilities. But if you don't have any technology, utilizing the outdoor speakers, the two-way radio integration to get that message out in a very timely manner.
Thank you, Ryan. We are now beginning the Q&A session of our presentation. If you have a question, please submit them through the chat or question box. Please note, if we do not get to your question during this session, a representative will reach out to you to answer your question directly. A recording of this webinar will also be shared with you after today's presentation. Now, let's begin with our first question. What is the audible range for the high-powered speaker arrays?
Yeah, so the high-powered speaker arrays can really differentiate or really go up and down based upon the wattage and the size of the speaker. So we have some speakers that have 15 watt, which will cover a parking lot, but we also have speakers that can be mounted and reach up to 1.5 miles of tones. So it really depends on the dynamic that we're dealing with, the topography of your campground, whether there's a lot of hills, trees, if you're situated in a valley where noise will carry a little farther. But typically the high-powered speaker array can reach right around 1 mile with tone and a little over a couple hundred yards with the clear voice.
Question 2, can the Alertus system contact parents of campers in a situation?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we discussed earlier, we have a couple different ways we can activate or notify our visitors or parents who are not going to be on the campgrounds. So the first option that we would recommend is the Alertus recipient app. So the ability to notify everybody with a message that comes across their phone with a push notification. Any parent has the ability to download this app. The same place you can download apps now, whether the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. The second option that we have there would be the website or the social media integration. That way they can get that message across anywhere publicly.
Question number 3. We currently have a police radio from our local police department. Can we integrate with that radio?
Yeah, so it depends on the system that we have with the two-way two-way radio integration. So we do have a ton of different integrations with different land mobile radio systems. We would prefer to have a questionnaire filled out that details a little bit more about that system. But with that being said, if that system is compatible, we can utilize that radio to notify the local police with a text-to-speech message. That way they have the ability to receive that message at the same time as everybody else is at that campground.
Next question. Does the Alertus system work if there is no Wi-Fi or internet in a certain area?
Yes. So with this in mind, the Alertus system does require a network and does require a server. However, many of the customers and many of the conversations we had last week at ACA, they mentioned the same thing, that there might not be a big range or there might not be a area where they get Wi-Fi coverage. We do have the ability to use FM radio signals with our speaker arrays. So we have the ability to use radio frequency to notify these outdoor speakers to receive and push that message out via radio. With that being said, if there's network but there's no power, we do have the ability to have solar panel integration with our outdoor speakers to get them a power source for your notification.
Last question. We were trying to integrate Alertus with our other systems like fire or alarm systems. Is there an open API or similar to connect for external hardware to connect with the Alertus server through the network in a secure way?
Yeah, definitely. So we showed that on the one of those slides with our API integration and our different system integrations. If there is a specific system in mind, just let us know. We do work with different access control companies, security camera companies, as well as fire alarm panels. So we have a universal system and a lot of compatibility with many systems. So if there's a system in mind, please let us know. We're happy to dive a little deeper into that integration, as we do have different APIs and different ways we can connect with different systems.
Thank you, Ryan. We have now concluded the Q&A session of our presentation. Again, if we did not get to your question, we will reach out to you directly with an answer. If you have any questions or need additional information, please feel free to email marketing@alertus.com, and we will be happy to assist you. If you are looking for more information on Alertus and our solutions, visit our website, www.alertus.com. If you're interested in upcoming webinars, please visit alertus.com/webinars to see the full schedule. Thank you for joining today's webinar, and we look forward to meeting you again soon.